What's up, y'all? It's your boy Ruben, and new week, new video, and it is that time. I know we touched on it. I said now that the NFL is over, I'm going into the NBA, and the reason I formatted it that way is because I get into discussions a lot prior, when the NBA starts, and because the NBA season's so long, with it being 82 games, I have a tendency to, not that I don't pay attention, because I do pay attention to what's going on. I'm an avid Knicks fan. I love the Lakers as well, even though, just much like Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, I don't claim the Lakers while LeBron James is on it. And I'll dive into that a little more later. I'm not a LeBron fan by any stretch. I think he's a great player, but I definitely don't think he's the GOAT like people like to make him out to be. And that is also another video I'll definitely be doing at some point. So definitely stay tuned. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe so you know when I drop these videos. And don't miss, me talking about my feelings about LeBron and other subjects of that matter. With that being said, without further ado, let's just kind of dive right into some of my thoughts of where we're at. And again, I like to wait till around after the All-Star break, because the All-Star break is typically halfway through the season. This year, it feels like it's a little later because I think there's only 25-ish games left. But the reason I choose the All-Star break to really start focusing on the NBA is because that's when games you start feeling the playoff intensity. You start seeing people really trying to jockeying for position, and you really start just kind of getting an understanding of what teams are. Case in point, the Knicks. I'm a big Knicks fan, and I definitely had high hopes for them this season. I really thought we were going to be so much better than what we were. But this is why you watch the season and see what happens, and you use a sample size to kind of gauge what's going on, and you don't get too high and too low. We started the season 5-1. I was like, boom, right on par with what I was expecting. And then now we're sitting at like 10 games below 500 at this point. We're currently in the 12th. I don't know. We lost last night to the Miami Heat. And at this point, I have zero hopes for the team. I don't even want to make the playoffs at this point, because I don't have an interest in watching this team make the playoffs to get blown out by the number 1, 2, or 3 team in the league, because ultimately that's probably where we land. We'd be playing some combination Philly, Milwaukee, Miami, and we're clearly not up to snuff with those teams. And the reason for that, there's a multitude of reasons for that. A lot of people like to bang on the Knicks and give me a hard time because I've constantly stated that this team has talent. This team absolutely has talent. I think we're 12 to 15 deep with legitimate talent, okay? The problem is the pieces don't fit. And what I mean by that is, so what we've learned in the last year and some change is Julius Randle's just not that guy. I've always liked Julius Randle. I've always thought, when the Lakers drafted him, I thought he was a very good piece and that he was going to help, Kobe Bryant in the latter years. And that's the role I envisioned him, is to kind of find his way and get in where he fits in as a second, third-ish option, okay? What he did last year was he ascended to the most improved player. He was very good last year, but I think we're noticing now as the games get bigger that he's just not that guy. He's not up to the style of play that he has no longer fits what's successful in the NBA. In the NBA, you want to be fast, you want to be able to shoot, and he has become, think Carmelo Anthony. Now, he's not Melo. Let me say that right now. But their styles are indifferent in that he's an ISO player. He, that ISO mid-range, while he can shoot threes, it's not conducive to the style we have. And he's not as good as Melo for us to just be handing him the ball and watching him do things. And the team has outgrown Julius Randle. I've been wanting to trade Julius Randle since before he had the great year last year. The second we drafted Obi Toppin, who was on my wish list for that draft, I wanted Julius Randle out of here, specifically for the reasons that we're seeing now. A, he has value. trade him for whatever that value brings back, and start the development of Obi Toppin. We have the problem is we ended up succeeding. Julius Randle balled out, and it was hard to justify trading him. I understand why the front office signed him to the deal that he signed him to. They signed him to, but if you look at the way you built the team, you have Obi Toppin, athletic, good defender, can develop, like doesn't need the ball to be successful, right? Earlier in the year, the first unit was too slow. Kemba, Fournier, Julius Randle, a lot of watching Julius Randle, and then these guys are playing off him. We were too slow. Combine that with we became too slow, too inefficient, and that starting lineup didn't have enough defenders in it with Fournier and Kemba on the court. So that's why we looked so good, and we were beating people with our second unit with Derrick Rose. But notice now we have our first unit, and they're doing better, but our second unit doesn't look as good anymore because of the way Tom Thibodeau is doing these rotations. Derrick Rose got hurt. It affected the pace of the second unit. Quickly, looks like he's lost a lot of confidence because Tom Thibodeau has started to have a quick hook with him, also with Obi Toppin. We traded for Cam Reddish, which I thought was a brilliant move, but Tom Thibodeau refuses to let the kid get minutes. And you can clearly see, if you're the front office, it's a big mistake to not have moved on from some of these players and gone straight youth movement, because you have all these guys that, like, you can clearly see aren't part of the future. And you have guys that you clearly see are part of the future. Might as well get the ball rolling now. We're not winning games. So the fact that they can't identify that, and you got Tom Thibodeau trying to win games, it's hard to try to bring young kids along when you think you still have a shot. And right now, he probably still thinks he has a shot. Thank God, Barrett is starting to percolate a little bit. He's wishy-washy with the defense. I think he has potential to be a very good defender, a very good player. But I really think moving on from Julius Randle, which at this point, I don't know how easy or hard it's going to be, but he's tanked his value this season. But just moving on from Julius Randle by himself, I feel like would do wonders for the team because it allows the team to move faster. And as a result, I think you would have saw better play from Kemba and Fournier because they're not just stand around spot up guys. They need the ball. And they need the ball. They need to move. And Kemba's such a good guy that, you know, he's not going to make waves. You know, it's my understanding that he agreed to, hey, you know what, I'm shutting it down for the season to see what we're going to do. Unfortunately, you know, I can't argue with it. You know, it hasn't worked out thus far. It is what it is. I would have loved to seen it work for Kemba. I mean, he did take the buyout. I'm not sure how much money was on the table, but it's not like he took a bunch of money from us. And I hate to kind of turn your back on guys that are such just good guys. I really think Julius Randle, moving on from him and getting a legitimate point guard or even a pick and anything just unlocks the team because then you'll have Mitchell Robinson, who's a lob threat. I think you don't necessarily need a point guard, but you could have run this offense through Barrett because his ability to get in the paint creates just so many opportunities for everybody else. I really think just that one move would unlock so much for the team. And we just didn't do it. So now we have to suffer with Julius Randle, who's become very Russell Westbrook-ish, especially in the clutch. Coming down, throwing the ball, turning the ball over, not taking good shots, not being effective. And I know a lot of people are going to point to his stats. And yeah, you know, he's doing the 20, 25, 30 points, 11, 12 rebounds, and 5, 6 assists. And these are good numbers. But when push comes to shove, when it's the fourth quarter, it's always a key turnover. Always him not playing defense. Always him not giving the energy that needs to be provided. And then he's not the only knucklehead on the team. Watch how it affects Mitchell Robinson. Watch how it affects the rest of the team. The energy is off. And a lot of it has to do with Julius Randle's just general energy. He's not a leader. Again, I like him a lot. It's just the team, its future is not him anymore. And that's all I got on the Knicks for now. I really want to see more of the youth. I need to see more Cam Reddish. I think Cam Reddish has Paul George's potential. I literally think between RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish, you can have, if they hit their ceilings, you can have a Jimmy Butler, Paul George's potential between the two of them. I think you have real star potential between the two of them. Now, that's not to say that it's guaranteed that that's going to happen. I'm not saying that, but I really see shades of they can develop into similar style players. So that's just my thinking for now. Let me know what you guys think. That's just my opinion. But with that being said, just want to touch on some other things. I think the Nets are going to be a problem if Ben Simmons comes in because, you know, I know a lot of people are like, you know, it's Ben Simmons. We haven't seen him play, da, 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 da. But the great thing about Ben Simmons is he doesn't have to do much. This is literally a team that can cater to what he does. He doesn't have to shoot. All he has to do is basically run the second unit and defend, and rebound. He's going to create so many easy opportunities for Kyrie and KD. If they lift the mandate and Kyrie's able to play full time, it's going to be a problem for the league. Did you see Philly last night? And granted, I think they were playing, was it the Pistons? I'm not sure who the Philly was playing. I think it was Minnesota. Excuse me. Destroyed Minnesota. James Harden all of a sudden looked good, rejuvenated. Philly's going to be a problem. Milwaukee, I really think they're going to be a problem. I think Giannis is the best player in the league now. And while you haven't quite seen the dominance of the past between the Bucks, with the Bucks, you know, this year, I think a lot of it has to do with they are bored, you know, and not necessarily that they're bored, but I think they know how good they are. And I think you'll see a different team as the playoffs come. However, can they beat Philly? Can they beat Brooklyn? If Brooklyn's healthy, I think it's really their conference. And if this mandate's lifted and Kyrie doesn't become a headache and disappear because he has, you know, to pray for a plant that died, I don't know. That's just, you never know. Kyrie's mercurial. It is what it is. That's it for the Eastern Conference. It's pretty cut and dry. I think it belongs to, it's going to be a good playoffs. I don't think about it because Chicago looks good. But losing Caruso and Lonzo, I don't know if they're going to be back. That's a big problem for them. Miami Heat, they're a pretty good team. I don't like them better than the top three that I've listed, but they are definitely to be respected. The West, wide open. CP3 injured his thumb, and you're starting to see some of the problems without having a legitimate point guard Phoenix is undergoing as they lost pretty handily to the Pelicans last night. The Lakers, guys, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. You know what? Maybe that's too strong because anything can happen. I think they'll, you know, be in the play-in possibly, but I don't expect much. I expect kind of a one-and-done situation with the Lakers. Also made a mistake by not making any moves. They played no defense. LeBron seems to have just mentally mailed it in. Anthony Davis is one of the softest NBA players I've ever seen in my life. And, I mean, if CP3 comes back, it might just be Phoenix's conference. But with no CP3, it opens it back up. The Jazz might actually be in play this year. And here's one for you. The Dallas Mavericks are playing hella defense now, guys. So they have surrounded Luka with shooters. The Spencer Dinwiddie trade to have a point guard of that magnitude to come off the bench. Factor in Jalen Brunson and all the defenders and shooters that they got, Dallas is going to be a problem. Remember what Luka was doing to the Clippers with a healthy Paul George and Kawhi on the court. Remember you heard this here. Dallas could be a problem. And this is even if teams are healthy. Now, I think Phoenix might be too superpowered if CP3 comes back. But it'll be a great series. I'd enjoy watching it. Let me know what you guys think so far. But I just wanted to give my two thoughts. My 2 cents on, you know, just the league in general. But Lakers, big issues. That Russell Westbrook trade was an awful one. Those are just my thoughts, guys. Remember, like, subscribe, hit your boy up, and definitely follow for more videos. All right, peace.